They told us it was the lattes, the takeout, the streaming subscriptions. If only we cut back, they said, we'd finally get ahead. For years, middle class families have been told that financial stress is the result of small indulgences. A coffee here, a dinner out there, a few conveniences that supposedly add up to a life we can't afford. But the truth is far more complicated and far more unsettling. Research shows that when adjusted for inflation, families today often spend less on clothing, appliances, and even food than households did a generation ago. And yet, despite this restraint, financial pressure has intensified. So, if families are not spending recklessly, why does it feel like they are falling further behind? The answer may not lie in personal choices at all. It may lie in a quiet shift in the economic landscape, a shift that raised the cost of stability itself. Because today, staying afloat isn't about resisting luxuries, it's about affording necessities. Housing, healthcare, childcare, education, transportation. The very things families pursue to build a safe, stable future have become the heaviest weights on their budgets. And once we see that, one question becomes impossible to ignore. What if families aren't failing? What if the system around them has simply changed? Hi, I'm Rue. Going forward, I'll be narrating these videos myself to make them more personal and authentic. I've always been fascinated by how wealth is built and why it seems to flow easily to some, while so many others work hard their entire lives just to stay afloat. On this channel, I take a closer look at the systems behind money, how wealth grows, why financial pressure persists, and what really shapes our financial choices. If you are tired of feeling stuck, if you want to understand money instead of fearing it, and if your goal is to build a stable, comfortable life, not overnight riches, but real security, then you are in the right place. Consider subscribing and joining me as we make sense of money, one insight at a time. Because things don't change by chance, they change when we understand how they work and make better decisions. If overspending isn't the real problem, then what is? For many families, the answer begins with something deeply human, the desire to do right by the children. Parents are not chasing luxury, they are chasing safety, stability, opportunity. They choose neighborhoods with lower crime rates. They look for schools with stronger test scores. They pay for childcare so they can keep their jobs. They save for college because they fear what happens if they don't. None of these decisions are reckless. In fact, they are responsible, even necessary. But responsibility has become expensive. Over the past few decades, the cost of the foundations of middle class life, housing, healthcare, childcare, and education, has risen far faster than wages for most households. What once felt like basic stability now requires a far larger share of family income. And so families stretch. They take on larger mortgages to access better school districts. They absorb childcare costs so both parents can work. They accept longer commutes in exchange for safer neighborhoods. Each decision makes sense on its own. Each one is made out of care, not indulgence. Yet together, these choices quietly reshape the household budgets, turning what used to be a margin of safety into a narrow balancing act. Not because families are irresponsible, but because the price of doing the right thing has changed. For most families, buying a home is the largest financial decision they will ever make. But today, a home is no longer just shelter. It has quietly become a gateway to safer streets, stronger schools, and better opportunities for children. And that gateway has a price. Across the country, families are not simply shopping for houses. They are competing for access to school districts with higher test scores, lower crime rates, and better resources. This competition has created a silent bidding war, not for luxury, but for stability and opportunity. Historically, housing consumed about 25 to 28% of a typical family's income. Today, it is not uncommon for housing costs to absorb close to half of household earnings in many areas. The difference is not granite countertops or larger living rooms. It is the zip code. Because in many communities, school quality is tied to property values and local taxes. Families who want better funded schools often have only one option: move into more expensive neighborhoods. So they stretch, they take on larger mortgages, they commit to decades of higher payments. They rely on two incomes to make those payments sustainable. Each family's decision is rational, but together, these decisions push prices higher, raising the cost of entry for everyone. The result is a system where the pursuit of opportunity for children reshapes the entire housing market. And once family steps into that system, stepping back becomes far more difficult. Behind many financial decisions lies a quiet but powerful force: the desire to feel safe. For families, safety is not an abstract idea. It is a route children walk to school, the neighborhood park at dusk, the confidence that doors can remain unlocked even briefly without fear. Over the past several decades, concerns about crime and community stability have shaped where families choose to live. Even in periods where crime rates decline overall, public perceptions and highly publicized incidents can amplify fear, encouraging households to seek environments they believe are more secure. The result is a steady movement towards suburbs and carefully planned communities, places marketed not just for comfort but for peace of mind. But safety carries a cost. Homes in perceived safer areas often come with higher prices and property taxes. Longer commutes become the trade-off for quieter streets. Additional transportation expenses follows. Time once spent with family is exchanged for hours on the road. These are not extravagant choices. They are protective ones. Yet, when millions of families make the same protective decision, demand concentrates in specific areas. Prices rise, commutes lengthen, household budgets tighten. In trying to reduce risk in one part of life, families often take on new financial risk in another, not because they miscalculated, but because safety, like opportunity, has become something the market now prices. For much of the 20th century, the idea of the second household income carried a promise. It promised security, it promised upward mobility, it promised breathing room. As more women entered the workforce in the 1970s and beyond, families saw an opportunity to strengthen their financial foundations. A second paycheck was not viewed as a necessity, but as an advantage, a way to save more, invest more, and build a more stable future. In theory, the math seems simple. Two incomes should provide more resilience than one. And in the early years, for some families it did. The additional earnings helped pay down mortgages faster. It funded college savings account. It created a cushion against unexpected expenses. But over time, something subtle began to change. As dual income households became more common, the marketplace adapted. Housing prices adjusted to reflect greater purchasing power. Childcare evolved from an occasional need into a full-time expense. Employers normalized long working hours, assuming two earners could share domestic responsibilities. What began as a financial edge slowly became a baseline expectation. The second income was no longer extra, it was required. And once a household depends on two incomes to maintain stability, the margin that once provided security begins to disappear. Not all at once, but gradually. as fixed costs rise to meet the new reality. The dream did not vanish, it transformed. At first glance, more income should mean more security. But in many modern households, the opposite has quietly become true. As dual income became the norm, the fixed cost of everyday life began to rise to match them. Housing payments grew larger, childcare became essential, health insurance premiums climbed, transportation costs doubled as both parents commuted to work. What was once optional became unavoidable. The second income, originally intended to create financial breathing room, is now often absorbed by these non negotiable expenses. Mortgage payments sized for two salaries, childcare required to sustain two careers, two vehicles to support two commutes, higher insurance, healthcare, and tax obligations. Individually, each expense appears reasonable. Together, they leave little margin for error. This is where risk enters the picture. When a household depends on two incomes to meet basic obligations, the loss of even one paycheck can destabilize the entire system. A job loss, illness, or caregiving responsibility does not simply reduce income. It can threaten housing, healthcare coverage, and childcare arrangements all at once. In earlier decades, a second income often functioned as a reserve, a backup plan in times of need. Today, that reserve has already been spent. The result is a paradox. Households may earn more than previous generations, yet feel more financially fragile, not because they planned poorly, but because stability itself now requires more income to sustain. In earlier generations, many families operated with an unspoken form of protection, flexibility. A single primary income supported the household, while the second adult, often managing the house, represented a reserved capacity. If illness struck, a job was lost, or expenses surged, that reserve could enter the workforce and help stabilize the family's finances. It was not an ideal system, nor was it equally accessible to all, but it provided a margin, a buffer between hardship and collapse. Today, that buffer has largely disappeared. In dual income households, both adults are already fully committed to sustaining the family's fixed expenses. Mortgages, childcare, insurance, and transportation costs are structured around the assumption that two paychecks will continue without interruption. When one income is disrupted, there is no reserve waiting in the wings. There is only a gap, and that gap can widen quickly. Housing payments remain due. Childcare arrangements still require payments. Health insurance may depend on employment. Debt obligations continue regardless of circumstance. The loss of one income no longer triggers adjustment. It can trigger crisis. This is not a failure of responsibility. It is a structural shift in how households are organized and how costs are distributed. Modern families often operate with precision, not padding, and precision leaves little room for the unexpected. For many families, financial strain feels personal, as if it were the result of individual choices or missteps. But the data tells a broader story. Over recent decades, the share of household income devoted to housing has risen significantly in many regions, often approaching 50% of middle income families, compared with roughly 25 to 28% in earlier generations. At the same time, childcare, healthcare, and education costs have grown faster than wages for many workers. These are not discretionary expenses, they are structural. Research has also shown that financial distress is closely tied to the presence of children in the household, reflecting the rising cost of raising and supporting a family. For many parents, the very act of building a stable environment for their children, safe housing, reliable care, quality education, increases financial vulnerability rather than reducing it. Meanwhile, survey has found that a substantial share of households would struggle to cover even modest unexpected expenses without borrowing or selling assets. This fragility exists across income levels. including among families earning solid middle class wages. Taken together, these trends reveal a pattern. Families are not facing isolated setbacks, they are navigating a system in which the baseline cost of stability has risen faster than the resources available to sustain it. The numbers do not assign blame, they provide context. And in that context, a difficult truth emerges. Financial strain is not always a sign of failure. It can be a reflection of changing economic realities. If this story feels familiar, it is not because you failed. It is because the rules changed. For generations, financial advice was built around a world where one income could support a household. Housing consumed a modest share of earnings, and the second adult's earning potential served as a safety net in times of need. That world has shifted. Today, many families require two incomes simply to maintain stability. Fixed costs have expanded, margins have narrowed. The backup plan has already been deployed, and yet the expectations remained the same: work hard, get educated, build a career, buy a house, raise a family. Millions of households followed this path, responsibly, carefully, only to find that the destination feels more fragile than promised. Understanding this is not about assigning blame, it is about recognizing context. Because when people believe their struggle is personal, they carry unnecessary shame. But when they see the broader forces at work, something changes. The narrative shifts from failure to awareness. Awareness does not eliminate challenges, but it restores perspective. You are not alone in feeling this pressure, and clarity is the first step towards making choices, not from fear or expectation, but from understanding.